This world of ours, this cloudy planet warmed by the sun, protected from the dangers of space by a thick overcoat of warm atmosphere, is a cozy, pleasant place to live. We know it is because we live there, millions of us all together, the human race. But if, in our imaginations, we turn away from the Earth and think about other planets, other less fortunate stars, we realize that life there might be very different, very bleak and dull. The solitary fisher, setting off to catch what she can in the vast empty spaces of the universe, may feel very much alone.
Hey folks, Rob Daniels here from the movie, TV, and video game soundtrack program Visions in Sound. You can find me every week, 12 to 2 a.m., every Saturday morning on Mix 98.5 here in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. And joining me is Jason Drury. And now, Jason Drury, if you're familiar with the show that I've done with in the past, we did the war films recommendation. Jason, just for those that may not be familiar as to who you are, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Jason Drury. I am a producer of my own podcast on 10 Minutes on Radio podcast called The Archive, which features archival music around all wonderful music from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s up to the present day, more or less. And I have another podcast show called Talking Soundtracks, which is I interview top composers and people from the film music industry, which is a very enjoyable show, which I like doing, talking to very fascinating people including Christopher Young, Christoph Beck recently, and all my shows are hopefully very enjoyable to listen to. I thought amazingly people actually like them as well. I can't believe that. So
oh, come on, Jason.
There you go. So
don't be.
I've got two wonderful podcasts which I do enjoy doing, and also I pop up from time to time on your show.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
When the planets align correctly, if you see what I mean.
Of course. So now the reason why we're here today is something new I want to try. And this is the first episode of a kind of a semi-regular feature that I'd like to call In the Wild. I bring this term up every once in a while. Jason, I know that you've kind of snickered at it whenever I bring it up, but I don't know where I first picked up the term In the Wild from, but it's something that the collectors community seems to have picked up on. I mean, I've heard it used in reference to collecting figures, collecting toys, collecting records, that kind of stuff. So it kind of made sense to me to kind of adopt it myself. And it's true when you are out and about. In your case, it would be like charity shops. Here it would be The Beat Goes On, which is which we will get to, by the way. It's a local set of stores that deal specifically in used CDs. Now they're also into used records and even cassettes now. And they do video games as well. So it's kind of a catch-all store, but mainly I go there for soundtrack stuff. And I mean, I've found some really interesting stuff. But we're not going to talk about me today. We're going to talk about you, Jason. Was it last year? No.
I think year before last now.
2023. Has it really been 2023?
Yes, September 2023.
Wow. It's been okay.
I've counted the days.
So in 2023, Jason, you came over here for a visit. And one of the things that we wanted to do during your visit was to visit the many as many Beat Goes Ons, and when the next time you're here, we're gonna do and kind of as much as possible visit as many of them as we possibly can. We did a pretty good job. We did Guelph, we did Kitchener, and we did the Kitchener, the Waterloo. Did we hit Cambridge? I can't remember.
No,
anyway,
I can't remember.
Regardless of that, it's one of the stores that we definitely wanted to hit. Now, it was me that found it, but I had no idea what these were. And so the best way I can describe it, there are two shows, two British shows that you said that you grew up on.
Mm.
And what the two shows that we're referring to are, was it Fingerbobs
Fingerbobs and the Clangers.
and the Clangers? Now,
And,
for those that aren't familiar with of these two shows, why don't you just give it a thumbnail, a sketch
well,
of what each one of the shows is?
well, I think to describe this, first of all, saying that, in North America have things called Sesame Street, which is probably the behemoth of all children's shows. We have it over here as well. In the past, I remember Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. on ITV, watching Sesame Street myself, so I know how big it was. The UK, though, I think the executives in the UK wanted their own versions of Sesame Street or something similar to for children over here. ITV had their set of shows like Pipkins, Rainbow, I think Mr. Trimble, I think it was in the on ITV. BBC One in particular had two slots, one for younger children, I think in early like on 45. Then at 4 o'clock was the children's TV shows, like they used to show like Scooby Doo and some other great shows. And also these 5 minute segments as well, which were like the Magic Roundabout and things like that. There was a number of great people involved in these shows, particularly on the BBC. One was a man called Oliver Postgate. Now he did his shows in a little barn in Blean near Canterbury, which I know the area. I know where Blean is. I'm trying to find where there is a plaque exactly where it is, but it's one of my challenges to try and find it eventually. But in this shed, he produced some of the greatest TV shows for children in the UK in history. Shows like Bagpuss, shows like Nog on the Nog, shows like Ivor the Engine, probably shows you've probably heard of in Canada, but are well loved in the UK. But there was one show in particular which I really did love, and it was The Clangers. An unbelievable, wonderful show. It is so.
And there is Tiny Clanger, fishing from the music boat. There's something coming. She's caught it. I wonder what it is. A net. A net full of gold coins. What a marvellous thing to have caught. A bag full of treasure. And all for Tiny Clanger. And she drags them indoors, very secretly, very quietly. She's dropped them. Shh. Be quiet. She's creeping in with treasure. Shh.
Done, beautifully written, and some lovely music on it by Vernon Elliott, who was a member of a symphony orchestra as well at the time, and he ran. It was a he scored, well, you can call it scored, a number of these shows for Oliver Postgate, and for some reason, Trunk Records, who I've noticed looking through the last few days, have done some very interesting releases over the years, particularly some Roy Budd stuff, some proper film music stuff, but also they produced the soundtrack albums for at least two, or maybe more than two, children's shows, and one of them turned out to be The Clangers. wonderful album of nostalgia, which for some reason you found and I found in a fifth shore store, even I can't say it, a fifth store in Canada.
Well, yeah,
I
this
don't,
was it.
I don't know which one was it,
Well,
Rob?
we were in The Beat Goes On, and I was going through the soundtracks, and I saw the Clangers, and I went, this is unusual because the first thing that I do when I'm looking through the stacks of CDs or anything is unusual covers, stuff that I haven't, stuff that like you do the searching
Yeah,
long enough, you get to know what certain covers look like, and you just go through and through and through and through. But if something jumps out at you, like the Clangers did,
yeah,
I was like, "What's this?" So I pull it out and flip it over, and it's like it's got what I think it's like got a UK
yeah.
um, uh, label on it and that sort of thing. And I go, Jason, have you heard of this? And your eyes just lit up as if to say, as if to say, and I think you were stunned
Yeah,
at the fact that this was here.
yeah.
And then on top of that, well, we'll get to what else we found, but
Yes,
it's so unusual.
not too far away from where the Clangers was
Exactly.
residing. There was
So
something else.
yeah, so we were like oftentimes when I'm out in the in the wild looking for these looking for stuff, um you often you often wonder how the journey as to how it got there. And I've had a couple of soundtracks that I'm like, how did this soundtrack? I'm thinking of one that I found. It was I found a demo disc of Cujo,
Hmm.
and no idea where it came from. And well, I mean, I know where it came from, but the thing is that how does it get from where it was to small town Canada
Yeah.
in in
Was
a
that
in
was
the
that was the questions I asked. There was two questions I was thinking of. First of all, I didn't know there was a soundtrack release of the Clangers,
yeah
and most important of all, how on earth did this How did this appear in a fifth shop in Canada, 3,500 miles away from its base in the UK? It
yeah
just beggars belief.
it was unbelievable. And then, well, I mean, I looked further, and like you were just like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. You know. So then I find
It's written in the stars. It
exactly.
was
I
being
mean,
there waiting for it to pick up.
at any other time, I mean, of all times for this to happen, you you're over on your trip from England, and it's like of all things to find soundtracks that you didn't know existed, but still came from Britain.
Yeah.
So it's just it often blows my mind as to the I guess the synchronicity of it all
Mm,
is that how, like it's you being at this place at this time to
mm,
find these soundtracks.
yeah.
And we've kind of danced around the other one, but we'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
Going through, find another one, and this is another unusual. And again, when I see an
It must have
unusual,
been from the same batch. The same person put him there. I'm sure of
exactly.
it.
So I pull this out, and I said, so I flip it over again, and again, it has the. Is it the same label
It's the
as
same.
Clang?
It's the same label. It's Trunk Records. It's
Yeah,
exactly the same label.
same label as this, and I hand it over to you, and I say, do you know this one? And again, it's like you just start
What?
laughing, and it's like what is this doing here? And it's the it's what was it finger it's called Fingerbobs.
Yes. I'll give us an introduction. Another backstory. There was a presenter, a Canadian presenter called Rick Jones. Came over to the UK. He appeared on a iconic children's show called Play School for a number of years, and he was a singer as well. I only passed away a few years ago, so he's he's had a wonderful life and suddenly passed away not so long ago. But his indelible legacy to the world that he was narrator and presenter of this show called Fingerbobs.
Fingerbobs. Yoffie lifts a finger, and a mouse is there. Puts his hands together, and a seagull takes the air. Yoffie lifts a finger, and a scampi darts about. Yoffie bends another, and a tortoise head peeps out. These hands were made for making, and making they must do.
Which starred the iconic Finger Mouse. And a few other people as well, like Gulliver the seagull, Flash the tortoise, Scampi the scampi. Yes, and it's another one of those shows which was so gentle, but didn't, you've seen. I showed you an episode on YouTube, Rob, and you found these shows very charming in their way of presenting things.
Well,
and
it's in a lot of cases it forces you to use your imagination. Something that seems to be lacking from children's programming these days.
Yeah. And
Where,
of course, these are people of my age have very fond memories of these shows, particularly Fingerbobs. It was just a basic premise. One guy wanted to do a story, and he's these little animal brought to life by the hands of Mr. Rick Jones came around to find the stuff I wanted for the story. He brought them back as it, and he says, even though my partner maybe do say this sometimes, now I've got everything for the story.
Yeah.
And he starts telling you a lovely story related to using these props, some stones and bits they found. Sometimes it's like an Aesop fable they use. I remember the one they had the crow wanting a drink, and he had to use the stones to try and get the water up so he can reach the drink. Shows like that, stories like that, and it was just so gentle. It was such an interesting little bit of sense of humour. Like Scampi, he wanted to, he had jobs trying to pick up stuff, so he's probably a little bit sexist in a way now. He comes up with, I need my girl to help me. And he goes, cooey, cooey, and then they come out. It's lovely. It's so innocent, but so sweet as well, and it's wonderful children's program, which we don't get these days, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the background music was done by, I think, a guy called Michael. Trying to look at it, Michael Jessett. He gave all the little animals like finger mouse, and
he would give them individual.
We're calling Flash. I won't dash. I want to run a race. And lovely little things. And it had and a lovely one with Gulliver. I like to fly and spread my wings.
I like to rise and spread my wings. White upon the breeze, I like to soar and spread my wings above the roofs and trees, and then to swoop down, down into the town, fold my wings behind my back, and see what's going on. I like to rise and spread my wings, white upon the breeze. I like to soar and spread my wings above the roofs and trees, and then to swoop down, down into the town, fold my wings behind my back, and see what's going on. I like to rise and stretch my wings, white upon the breeze, and then to dive down, down into the sea, fold my wings behind my back, and float just like a boat. Ah, that's the life for me. And then flap again, and up again, into the wind and air, flying, flying, it does not matter where.
Huh. Well, there's no shortage of straw here.
So,
Well, see, in a lot of cases, I think that's
it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful and timeless.
yeah. Maybe I'm just kind of stroking my beard and saying in my day, but I find that like the equivalent shows up here, equivalent shows here in Canada or anywhere else would be stuff like Mr. Dress Up or Today's Special or any of the stuff where it's geared specifically towards a younger audience, and but it sticks with you. I know The Friendly Giant is another one that would be another one here in Canada. In fact, I would say Fingerbobs and The Friendly Giant are pretty close because the use of puppets and that sort of thing, and the use of imagination, which is something I think is lacking from a lot of kind of it. You don't have to think about it anymore. You like when I was a kid, boxes and paper rolls and tape and all of this. You did what you did with your stuff, and you made things, and your toys were, you created the worlds. The worlds weren't given to you in plastic, and you didn't, if you had a like I'll use the example of Barbie, for example. You didn't have Barbie's dream house. You made it out of paper and wood and stuff, and it was your creation, and it didn't matter if it looked right. It was right to you.
And with
that's go ahead.
with the case of the Clangers, it was a beautifully made program with the old classic stop motion animation.
I was just going to say,
little second and click record and move it. Like, for example, by the way, I've got a special guest who wanted to join us today. So, and it's yes, it's small clanger from the Clangers. I got my own clanger, which I don't know what it makes me. It must be. I may need to have a lie down after this because but this I've had this for a long time. I think I got it from a charity shop. It used to say something, because there was something that Oliver Postgate scripted his words for the Clangers. He always used, most of the Clangers' voice was used with a swanny whistle, like that's how they did the voices. And apparently, there's one thing is if he had, sometimes we weren't supposed to know it, but apparently in an odd occasion he did say the odd four-letter word with using the swanny whistle. oh, sod it, the thing's gone and broken again, something like that. He said, "Oh, sod it, the thing has got and broken again." Well, we wouldn't know that. It was on the swanny whistle.
and tiny Clanger drags her treasure away up to her private cave. There's the baby dragon. Oh, he's come to play ball with the Clangers.
But saying that, Oliver Postgate had two wonderful gifts. First of all, his wonderful gift and his wonderful stories he did, not just for the Clangers, but also things like Bagpuss, I think was voted one of the greatest TV shows in the UK's history, which I think I may have a minute. Is he here? Oh, he's gone all Canadian. My little Bagpuss.
Oh, Bagpuss. Yes.
Yes. And if hopefully this works, I can get it to the microphone. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Just about works still. So, you know, apparently he's supposed to be a ginger cat, but apparently he went in a wash and he turned that red colour, and it was like a fate, and he was like that ever since. And bear him also. Same thing on the Bagpuss. I've also got the soundtrack album, the Bagpuss. I mean, since I got Fingerbobs and the Clangers, I have had a little, mission to try and get as many soundtrack albums of classic BBC or ITV shows, if I can, available. And if I can hang on a second, as if by magic, this is Bagpuss. The soundtrack album to Bagpuss from Earth Records, far more. Very what would you call it? It's a very lot of traditional sea shanties and things like that. Very traditional music on this by two people, Sandra Kerr and John Faulkner. And some of the music of that series is also well loved over here too. So particularly with some of the songs they did, a lot of sea shanties there, and I think we will do it, and all that. And another great Oliver Postgate show, a mix of stop motion animation and a little bit of puppetry as well in there too. But it was a very renowned, very similar. So only also like Fingerbobs, only 13 episodes made, but all 13 episodes are like iconic. And I also found in the same vein, but this one probably is a little bit disappointed about because it doesn't have any incidental music, but just had the feel of the music of the series. I also bought, as if by magic, Mr. Ben. And I always keep thinking when I watch Murdoch Mysteries, I'm going to get it out there. If Yannick Bisson and Thomas Craig got nothing else to do, they could do the screen version of Mr. Ben, because Yannick Bisson would be perfect for Mr. Ben. And if he gets his beard back, I've just noticed he's unshaven this last series. Thomas Craig would be perfect for the shopkeeper. You must let. I know you have contacts with Robert Carley, who works writing music for the series. Yeah. Let him know I've got an idea for a spin-off series that Yannick Bisson and Thomas Craig can do, and they'll be perfect for Mr. Ben and the shopkeeper. Promise. This has to happen one day. It has to happen.
So let's get us back to Clangers and Fingerbobs, because those were the two that we'd found, and again I go back to the whole idea of I often ask this question, and I'll again mention it earlier. How does it get from whoever bought it to a small town Canadian store? And I think that's the cool thing about going out and looking, because you never know what you're going to find. And I think that's maybe the best way of kind of wrapping this up is saying, look, it's not a perfect system. I went out the other day and was going, okay, I'm out to look for something. Nothing. And more often than not, you'll go out and you'll find absolutely nothing. But then your friend from Britain comes over and finds the Clangers and Fingerbobs in a in a in the beat goes on.
Mm.
And it's and I was completely taken aback by the fact that this stuff, first of all, you didn't know that there was even a soundtrack release for it. And then again,
I was aware of Bagpuss, but not the Clangers or Fingerbobs.
right. So um it's kind of nice to be able to find stuff that you're not aware exists originally. So this is cool. And what I'll say is this. Um Go out. You never know what you're going to find, and take a chance. Take a chance on thrift stores. Take a chance on charity shops. Take a chance on bookstores. You never know, because sometimes they're getting smarter, they're getting a little bit more smarter recently, where they don't know what they have,
Yeah.
and they'll price it accordingly.
Mm.
And so and this is not just for soundtracks, but it's also for other collectibles as well. But but especially for soundtracks, if you go out, it's not going to be consistent. I know I have a couple of people who ask me, they said, you must go out on a regular basis and find this stuff. And I go, nope. I go out, and a lot of times nothing comes up. But it's that one time
Yeah.
that you go out and you're not expecting it, and then all of a sudden it pops up.
Just to finish the story on the two series, the Clangers, I think the original series was narrated by Oliver Postgate, which he had a wonderful voice. His voice was, oh, it's beautiful. He really is the voice of my childhood. I think they stopped showing those in the late 80s, but they were revived, I think, in the 1990s or 2000s by Channel 4 or somebody. And those new episodes were narrated by Monty Python man Michael Palin.
Okay.
And they're just as sweet as ever. Such a lovely episodes. Clangers is an absolute British classic. Fingerbobs, I think they last showed it on the BBC in the mid late 80s. They had a spin-off series with just Fingermouse on his own, but it wasn't the same. He was like he was some guy with a naked hand with a finger mouse on it, which wasn't. I did love the series. It wasn't as nice, wasn't as good as the original. It didn't have the original feel about it, but both these shows, unfortunately, not shown on TV or here anymore, but are still nostalgic to a lot of people like me. Remember thinking back to their childhood. And have a lot of memories enjoying sitting down probably mid-afternoon or early afternoon watching the Clangers and Fingerbobs. They are some of these are two of the most iconic children's shows in British TV history. And as many people, younger people discover them, they will realise what treasures children's TV was in the 70s and 80s. Okay. Because I think at the moment there's nothing like it. I also don't watch children's TV when I'm nowadays. I'm 55. I don't watch kiddie shows. I'm not in that. I don't watch many of those. But I see the stuff advertised, and there's nothing as wholesome and as lovely and as iconic and timeless as shows such as Fingerbobs and the Clangers.
Awesome. Well, I'm very happy to have shared this nostalgic and provide the country that you ended up finding these soundtracks in that were totally unexpected. And as I was saying before, you never know. So don't give up the first time you go out and you don't find anything. Go out, check things out, go to different places. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be record stores, because you can find stuff all over, and you never know. So, with that in mind, Jason, remind us who you are again, and if you've got anything coming up in the next little while.
Yes, I'm a producer and podcaster on the Cinematic Sound Radio podcast, and also do your little thing for Film School Monthly. I've just recently had an interview which will appear in the March issue. I'm just checking the date now. It's the March issue of Film Score Monthly with composer Jeff Rousseau. Complete contrast of Fingerbobs and that. The Robert De Niro starring mini-series thriller called Zero Day, which is terrific. Great performance from Robert De Niro and a good score. Great dramatic score by Jeff Rousseau. So we will talk about that. That's appearing in the forthcoming issue of Film Score Monthly. I'm working on a couple of episodes of The Archive just come out recently. I'm in the middle of editing a very unique archive show, which I collaborated with my friend John Mansell about spaghetti western music. So
Nice.
that's one which is we had a good time last week recording that, and I'm in the middle of editing that, so that's going to be coming out very soon. I have a number of shows got in mind also for the archive, including the regular archive show, which I play some recent releases. So those are coming soon. I've got a James Horner show with some developing, which is coming along, which it could be nice. Hopefully, I get around to finishing in time as well. So I've got plenty of shows coming up for this Minute Sound Radio podcast. And hopefully, one or two interviews in the pipeline as well will be coming soon. Haven't done many yet this year. I'm sure it'll be coming soon. Now, but probably like London's buses, nothing. I don't have any for weeks, and suddenly 5 or 10 come up once. So we shall wait and see.
Okay.
But you'll be hopefully hearing a lot from me on the Cinematic Sound Radio podcast, and I hope you will enjoy my offerings when they are released on the station.
Awesome. Well, as for me, you can hear me every week on 12 to 2 a.m. every Saturday morning on Mix 98.5. But if you miss the show, which does happen from time to time, you can also check me out on visionsinsound.ca. I'm on Blue Sky these days at visionsinsound.bsky.social. And I can also be found on Good Pods, a downloadable app for your phone or other type devices. And I can be found on many of the other podcatchers out there, as I discovered recently. Very much so. Well, I might as well just say this. I'm an award winner of the best film and TV podcast on Discover Pods. I just found this out like a couple of days ago. So it's been pretty cool. So you can check things out all over the place. But yeah, as I said, take a chance because you never know what you're going to find out there, and go out, go out into the wild because you'll never know what you'll find. So thanks again, Jason. It's been a pleasure,
Pleasure as
and
always.
hopefully your next trip will bear even more fruit.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Finger mouse, the never stop to think a mouse, the always on the brink a mouse, finger mouse, that's me. I am the mouse called Finger Mouse, the mouse with guts and verve. I get past cats so easily with my famous body swerve. Finger mouse, I'm a sort of wonder mouse, a hit, a miss, a blunder mouse, finger mouse, that's me.